Hey, welcome on the spot. I'm here with Vern and Glenn, KPIX 5 sports anchor. You probably seen him on TV and stuff, but he's my guest on the spot. Stanley Roberts, I called him out, and here we are. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Vernon, and tell a little bit about yourself.
All right, Steve. Vern Glenn, Sports Director, KPIX, CBS 5 here in San Francisco. Those of you younger than 50, that's an actual television station. I know most people get their information off of devices, but I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. But for those of you right around my age, hey, you've been watching for a while. I've been around here, 35 years in this market, exclusively covering Bay Area sports. And even though it's my 35th year, Steve, and it feels like my very first
Wow,
because I attacked this with the same enthusiasm I had when I got here in 1990 at Cron.
nice. Um, so we'll start off with the questions. You ready for on the spot?
Let's go.
All right. What are your thoughts on real estate market? I'm not sure where you live in right now, but what are your thoughts on the market in the Bay Area, seeing the housing, all that stuff? What are your thoughts on it?
I live in Marin County where the housing prices continue to soar, although the heights aren't quite as high as they were about this time last year. Right now, median price of a home up here is about 1.3, so that's a little down from a year ago. But hey, so long as you're living up here and you got a little piece of the pie, you're doing pretty good.
Nice. Those are good thoughts. You want to share a struggle or quote that you live by or growing up that you want to share? A struggle maybe or going through being a news anchor?
Well, my latest I guess my latest personal struggle was back in 2005. I had just bought a house here in Mill Valley, and everything was all well and good until the business flipped and the digital age came in, and the analog was kind of being pushed out. And what that meant was staff was cut, budget was cut, salaries were cut. Now, granted, I just bought a house in Mill Valley, and I lost 50% of my salary.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little struggle. That's a little pressure
Yeah.
right there. So I had to really kind of scramble and grind a little bit. I had to get rid of the house. Needless to say, I was able to do it uh, right around right around 2010, 11, 12. I was able to get out of that and then come over to the other side of Mill Valley. It's called Strawberry, nice and sunny over here,
Hmm.
and we're able to settle over here and just work just fine. But hey, when you got three young kids and something like that happens, and the real estate market just kind of the floor just kind of just falls from me to knee. That's when you get a true test of a man
Hmm.
right there. And anybody listening to this can certainly kind of maybe empathize and just kind of like nod your head like, yeah, that happened to me, or that almost happened to me, or thank God that did not happen to me. But that was a that was a huge struggle for me. But as they like to say, bridge under the water. We're in 2025 and we're sailing right along.
Nice. Good thoughts.
I just feel bad, Steve, I feel bad for the kids around here, kids that have grown up in large markets where the real estate is high. How are they ever going to have a chance at ownership
Hmm.
coming out of school? Because they, like around here, I mean, everyone wants to come home, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're in the East Bay, I'm over here in Marin,
Yeah.
but how are you going to be able to afford to, get into the real estate market? I mean, you're going to have to just hope that you get some kind of a break, and those breaks are not going to come in the real
Hmm.
world.
Yeah. Do you got a quote you share? Want to share with us that you live by?
I'd rather be too early than too late, and treat people the way you want to be treated.
Those are good.
And closed mouths don't get
I've heard
fed.
that before.
Open your mouth and ask questions. Don't go to Reddit. Don't go to social media. Ask a question of somebody of
Good
authority.
thoughts. Cool. You got a favorite show on Netflix or TV you're watching nowadays that you like?
I thought about this. My all-time favorite show is Hawaii Five-O, the original
Okay.
Hawaii Five-O,
Okay.
with Jack Lord as Steve McGarrett.
Hmm.
But as far as other shows, I really enjoyed The Wire. I mean, I'm talking about like absolute favorites. Currently on Netflix, I'm watching Court of Gold.
Hmm.
It's a great documentary about Team USA's drive for the gold medal in Paris on the basketball team. It's really good. Lately, I've been watching Night Agent, season one of that. Right now, I'm on season two. I'm also watching Severance on Apple TV,
Okay.
and I recommend Goliath
Goliath.
on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Nice choices. Yeah. Good variety. I heard Severance a few times on here, so that's good. Um, all right. Let me ask you this.
It's
Yeah.
it's 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 strange. It's strange. It's not for everybody. It's hard to follow. A lot of times, I'll watch an episode and immediately have to go to some YouTube page that kind of explains like what I just
Hmm.
saw. I mean, you can't. Let's put it this way: you can't be on the phone or paying bills or something like that and watch this at the same time. You're just going to lose something. You'll be completely lost. You got to be completely like this the entire time.
Good one. Let me ask you this question. Debo Samuel just got traded from the 49ers. What are your thoughts on that? And it's happened, what I think yesterday, right? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it happened, and yeah, it happened over the weekend. And Stephen, it was time. He didn't want to be here. We all knew that he wasn't going to be on this football team next season. The cap cost was severe. He's coming off a season where he had 806 all-purpose yards, four
Hmm.
touchdowns, and dropped a pass that essentially ended their season. So there were all kinds of. I mean, he was injured all the time. He had the pneumonia crisis. I mean, and it was just we were not going to get the 2021 Debo Samuel that was just a war horse,
Hmm.
just wrecking, just crushing people, play after play. So he saw the writing on the wall. He asked for the trade, and John Lynch accommodated that. The Commanders are exactly what he needs. The Commanders need that. It's another weapon for Jaden Daniels. He's going to look. He's going to go over there. They're going to have these gimmick offensive plays. They're going to have all these guys. He's going to run roughshod through the NFC East. I don't even care if you're Sweat in the secondary of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nobody, when he's right, nobody wants to tackle him low,
Hmm.
and he bounces off of people when you try and tackle him high.
Yeah.
So I think it's terrific trade. The 49ers, yes, they get a fifth round pick. The immediate question is, wow, only a fifth round pick? Wow, what a steal. How come they didn't get more? They didn't get more because of the season he had last year.
Yeah.
And his productivity, although high when he's healthy, it just wasn't high enough on a consistent
Hmm.
basis. And so I know the 49ers were hoping for a fourth round pick, but a fifth round pick is just going to have to do. The 49ers have 11 picks. They're going to spend most of them probably on offensive line and defensive line, which is what the 49ers need. So it's a win-win for both teams. The 49ers get rid of that salary. It was $31 million against the cap. Now it's $17
Hmm.
million. They'll take that, and then they will aggressively go after those linemen and take care of Brock Purdy.
Nice. I'm hearing Ayuk being traded or shopped around. Is that what do you think about that? Is he staying?
Well, you hear it, but I'm like, shake me, wake me when it happens. I just don't have I don't have I don't have the time and I don't have the energy to waste on something or hypothetical, something that might happen. Just let me know when it does happen and then I can react to that.
Okay.
I got too much other stuff to really worry about other than that.
Got you. Let me ask you this: on Mount Rushmore, who are your top four basketball players? If you have to list them, who you put on there?
Today my Mount Rushmore is Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and Magic Johnson.
Okay.
Had to have a point guard in there. Had to have a shooting guard in
Yeah.
there. And then I've got guys. I got a couple of bigs in there. Russell he can go big and he can play small or large forward, and then I mean Will Chamberlain. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
100 points in a game,
Yeah.
100 in a game in a season where he averaged 50 points a game, 50.
Unheard of. Yeah. Crazy. So who's your GOAT then in basketball?
My go to basketball is Michael Jordan. He can play big. He can play small. He was all defense multiple years. I mean, he is the you can take a rock and chisel it in the form of Michael Jordan, and that's my guy.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. We had that big hockey fight with USA and Canada. What do you think about that thing happening? And then thoughts on the Sharks?
Oh,
Yeah.
3 fights in nine
Yeah. Yeah.
seconds. I have a lot of thoughts on that one. First of all, hockey is one of those sports, Stephen. You know, among the big four. Look, you can go outside and play a little football. You go outside and play basketball. You go outside and play baseball. You can't go outside and go, hey, let's go play hockey. Not everybody can skate. It's just not one of those sports.
Yeah.
That's why it'll always be fourth among the big four.
Mhm.
So that's we'll just get that out of the way. Number two, it's USA against Canada. Our president fanned the flames with his shots at Canada. The whole, I mean, we can get into it. The whole
Yeah.
tariffs and this, that, and the other, whatever. So that's another thing. So that was that was that was so all that was going in,
Mhm.
and then you're playing for your country. Canada is where hockey was invented, and you've got great American players, you know that were certainly a threat. So you put all that in a blender, you come up with a potent cocktail, and that is why you got the compelling event that that you saw. I praise the NHL for coming up with a midseason classic like that. I mean, that really, if only the NBA could adopt a midseason thing like that, where you've got USA say like against the world
Mhm.
with everything on the line. I think that would resonate.
Cool. What about the San Jose Sharks? Have you followed them a little bit? What do you think about their team going forward and what's going to happen?
There was a time, Stephen, where the San Jose Sharks were always year in and year out the sexy pick to win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, every year. I'm talking about early 2000s. We did multiple live shots
Mhm.
there. They would block off streets. They would have a parade. I mean, they had a good thing going. They had a rock solid system, great farm system, and so that was the window for the Sharks to get it done. They even made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got swept,
Yeah.
but they made it that far.
Yeah.
And you and once you go to the mountaintop like that, Stephen, and you don't win it all, you fall all the way to the bottom of the mountain. And then as years go on, other teams get better. Other teams use systems and get better. And the team that you had built to make it to the finals, compete in the finals, they get old.
Mhm.
And when you get old, you just can't compete against these young bucks, especially in hockey, when you can start, stop on a dime, skate forwards, backwards. It's just not sustainable
Mhm.
to have an aging team.
Yeah.
So the Sharks are in a rebuild, and it's from my observations and understanding that the San Jose Sharks will not be relevant until at least 2026.
All right. Let's switch. What's your prediction with the Giants this year? What's going to happen as far as Giants? I know we've got spring training rolling around, but what do you think is going to happen with them?
I expect the Giants to go. I expect the Giants to come up with like an 80 some odd win team.
Yeah.
I expect them to go for the second wild card spot. They're not going to win the division. There is just no way.
Yeah.
They'll be competitive so long as they stay healthy.
Okay.
Their Achilles heel has always been injuries, and then bringing up guys before they're really ready to play. The inexperienced, the situations where that organization is just not deep enough
Hmm.
to compete with the big boys yet. Yeah, you can get a little lucky. Pitching can carry you, but so far. But when you have breakdowns in pitching like the Giants did last year, and you had to call up, these young guys, hey, Thanks for participating. So the second wild card is really all the San Francisco Giants have. I know it. I think most people in the know it.
Hmm.
Fan is short for fanatic. So the fan base is is expecting them to go out there and just rock it and keep winning these series and stuff like that. And they'll be good. I mean, they got some veteran presence,
Yeah.
but you still got to go out and get it done on the field. You need offense as well as great pitching. The defense was lacking. They took care of that on the left side between third base and shortstop with Adamas and Chapman. But there's just too many questions in other holes, and that's why Buster Posey was brought in to address that because he knows the game.
Hmm.
He's going to need some time, but look, this is not the NFL where the Washington Commanders can be in the cellar and then the next year in one season be in the NFC Championship game. It doesn't work that way
Yeah.
in Major League Baseball.
You think Bryce Aldridge makes an appearance this year? Cracks the major leagues? First baseman guy?
Well, I mean, he's hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna start at AAA, and let's just see what happens there. I mean, it's up to Aldridge to force the Giants' hands into making them call him up and giving him a shot. But yeah, Aldridge, good player, but if you throw him up against some of the veteran pitching, the seasoned pitching, I mean, there's going to be situations and pitches and stuff like that he hasn't even seen before.
Yeah.
He's a kid, and so
Yeah.
he'll get his opportunity, and he will be fine. But he's going to take his lumps, and every at bat is going to be a learning experience for him.
Okay. Good thoughts. Let me ask you this.
Hardest thing in sports is getting a fastball.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, it's hard. Um, what's something you did in the pandemic that you didn't do before that's carried over?
I never take time off, Stephen. I mean, I love this so
Yeah.
much that I get 5 weeks of vacation a year.
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I take 10 days,
Yeah.
and out of those 10 days, I break them up as 2 days here, three here, whatever. But in the pandemic, I happened to be in one of those situations in January where I decided to take a few days off. Second day into vacation, I got COVID.
Oh.
And so something I'd never done before was stay in bed for 2 solid weeks without doing
Mm.
anything. And all I did was eat and binge watch.
Gotcha.
Hadn't done it before,
Yeah.
and I haven't done it since.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this. Do you got a dream car out there that you like?
Yes, the Aston Martin DB5,
Okay.
known as the James Bond car.
Okay.
I would like to have that same color, silver. Now I don't want to have, I don't want to have machine guns
Yeah.
and oil slicks and stuff like that as weapons in the
Yeah.
car. But hey, I wouldn't mind driving one of those around.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the EV car? Have you been to one, experienced it? What do you think of those?
I've been in them. I admire them. Some of these cars, I feel like I'm in the cockpit of a spaceship. Um, they're great for the environment. My only concern is that if everybody gets them, Stephen, my concern is that these neighborhoods across the country don't have the bandwidth to charge every single one of these cars without hurting everything else electrical
Hmm.
that we need to live.
Yeah.
I know we couldn't do it in this neighborhood. I mean, if everybody had an electric car and plugged them in, I mean, it would kill our neighborhood.
Yeah.
We just don't have the power.
Hmm. Good thoughts. Good opinion. What age would you want to go back to and live at if you could go back in time?
I have two. I'd like to go back to 27. It was right after I got to the Bay Area. I was living in the city. There are things maybe that I had a chance to do back then that I did not.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know now, if I could go back there, I would certainly do those things, like save more money, join my 401k plan as soon as I was vested. I had a chance to buy in the city at the time, but didn't do it. Uh, not knowing that I would be here for 35
Hmm.
years. So 27 would be one. 40 would be the other. I enjoyed being 40. I enjoyed when I turned 40. By then, I was married. I had three young kids. I was just starting out. I mean, those were fun times growing up with them
Hmm.
and having those experiences. 40 was fun.
And where'd you move?
And I can remember when my dad turned
Yeah.
40, and I looked at my sister and I went, 40? Man, that is old.
And where'd you move from again? You came from when you moved out the Bay Area. Where'd you move from?
Professionally, I had worked in Baltimore before I came out here. I was in Baltimore for a couple of years. My first job was in Richmond, Virginia, which is where I grew up. And yeah, this is my third market jump, and I think this is when I finally get ready to say adios
Mhm.
and put the microphone down. Hopefully, I will still be here.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this: you got a favorite field trip as a kid that you did growing up that you liked?
First time I went to Disney World, I was probably 12, I'd never seen anything like that before. You'd seen it on TV, but then all of a sudden we took a family trip to Orlando. We drove, I believe,
Hmm.
and it was just everything was big. Epcot Center all the way down. It just it was it truly was the happiest place on earth. And I can remember my sister and I, we went to some show, and all of a sudden there were trees on the stage, and all of a sudden all of a sudden the trees came to life. They started running around, and my sister was terrified as the trees jumped into the audience and started running around. She just freaked out. I vividly remember that.
Nice.
That was a fun one.
And what generation did you grow up in? Do you know offhand? Were you
I'm at the tail end of the baby boomers.
okay?
1962.
Wow. Now, as far as with tech and stuff involved, I mean, I think you've adapted to it pretty well. You're, still doing the newscast. You got Instagram. I see you're over there. How you feel about tech and today with kids and growing up with it all, with
Hmm.
everything?
Well, I mean, it's like a freight train that's coming. There's no avoiding it. There's no sidestepping
Hmm.
it. Tech is here to stay. It is really affected our industry. At Channel Five, we don't have a news desk. We don't have weather maps. We don't have a set
Hmm.
as you might as you might think that we
Hmm.
do. Both of our studios are complete green screen. Everything that we bring you is virtual reality and augmented reality.
Hmm.
And so we're in this green screen, we stand on our marks, and all the video is superimposed behind us. That's what you see at home.
Hmm.
But all we see in studio is nothing but green. We use one camera that's roving at the end of a boom that follows you with a tracer as you walk around the studio. So while it is a different look. Not every station is doing it, but it is coming, and it is certainly universally implicated among the CBS owned and operated stations around the country.
Oh, impressive. Let me ask you this: what movie have you watched recently that you liked, that you saw?
As a family, we rewatched all of the Fast and Furious franchises.
Okay,
We're big fans of that. In the movie theater, I saw Gladiator 2
I like that.
because one of my favorite movies was the original
Yeah.
Gladiator. So I thought they did a good job with that. I watched Denzel Washington in The Equalizer 3. So we're not really, well, I'm only speaking to myself. I mean, I'm not really into the Greek tragedy, down on your luck, kick when you're down, and then you make, you make this that Hollywood is in love with.
Hmm.
This movie Honora, which won the best movie for Academy,
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like what?
Yeah.
And so
I saw Wicked on
I
there a
mean,
lot too.
so we got a movie Honora based on a sex worker who marries the son of an immigrant. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would, dip in my pocket to go and see that in a movie theater. Really, kind of not my kind of thing.
Hmm.
But hey, for the one thing's for sure, the Academy they like intricate, complicated storytelling,
Hmm.
and this apparently worked, where they were able to get the nod for the Oscar.
Hmm. All right. Are you an Apple or Android guy?
Apple.
Okay. Simple enough. You want to share a tip of the week, business tip, success tip that you live by?
Treat people the way you want to be treated, and leave hate unchecked wherever you go,
Those are good points.
especially now
Yeah.
in these fluid times.
Yeah. Um, who'd you want to sit down and eat with, dead or alive? You can pick somebody. Who'd you want to eat with? You can do both too if you have someone alive and dead.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm torn.
Hmm.
Uh, I'd love to catch a meal with Josh Gibson. Josh Gibson is arguably maybe the greatest baseball player ever, but we'll never know because he never had a chance to play in major leagues.
Hmm.
I'd also like to sit down and have a chat with Jack Johnson, the first great heavyweight champion of the world. We're talking about like 1912. I'd like to talk about all the stories I hear about him as champion, a man of color who pretty much went by his own rules and was he got in trouble because of it, but he had the money to get out of it.
Hmm.
I'd also like to sit down and have a couple of beers with John F. Kennedy. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
War hero, football hero, Kennedy family, Camelot, the whole 9 yards. Would love to sit down and chat with him.
Mm. All right. If you're stuck in the elevator, who would you want to be stuck in the elevator with?
My mind could change tomorrow,
Hmm.
but right now I'm going to go with Charlize Theron. She's smart. She's beautiful. She could talk about anything.
Yeah.
And if we're stuck in an elevator for God knows how
Yeah.
long, I mean, it might as well be with a smart, beautiful woman
Nice.
like her.
Okay.
To me, she's the kind of person where I like the kind of women that can hold a golf club and swing it with a stogie in her mouth and be barefoot, and then 5 hours later have her hair in an updo, sequins dress on your arm, just looking like a 10.
Hmm.
And I think she could fit the bill.
There you go. Good answer. Oh. Who's your favorite sports team and player?
Favorite sports team all time were the Baltimore Colts,
Okay.
and I'm going to the era of 1968 to 1970. Johnny Unitas, Earl Morrall. I mean, they're just this well assembled team. 19-point favorites to win Super Bowl III, only to lose 16-7 to the New York Jets and Joe Namath. I don't understand how that happened. My dad, who grew up in Baltimore, is still his head's still spinning on how that could possibly have happened. But when growing up, the Baltimore Colts were my team. But my favorite player all time is Jim Brown.
Hmm. Nice.
Greatest football player ever, greatest lacrosse player ever.
Yeah. What about the Warriors and the Steph Curry? What do you think about them?
I think this is I think this is it for them. I mean, they went out and got Jimmy Butler to to squeeze whatever they can out of this Curry era.
Yeah.
It's worked out pretty good. I mean, they're 8-2 with Jimmy Butler. In fact, well, you could say 7-1 because Jimmy Butler didn't play on Saturday in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
But as we record this, they're going to play the Charlotte Hornets, and I expect them to win that one. Charlotte being Curry's hometown, um, but this is it. I mean, this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Steph Curry's going to be 37 years old in another week and a half from us taping this show,
Hmm.
and so it's fun to watch. I think adding Jimmy Butler has kind of galvanized Curry and his game, taking some of the heat off. They're playing great defense. They're attacking a little bit better. They've got some swagger back, which is what you need. They got some confidence, and so I just feel privileged and I feel lucky enough to have been around this as this has been happening. The championship runs. I've been working long enough where I remember the 12 seasons of not being in the playoffs,
Nelly
where the
Ball.
Warriors could not give tickets away.
Yeah, Nelly Ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Well, I mean, I don't want to say Nelly Ball because when Nelly was here the first time, they were really fun to watch. And this is the Mullen and Hardaway and Mitch Richmond
Hmm.
years. But then he left, and then it was just this cascade of just terrible basketball. So they brought him back, and he was able to kind of right the ship at least
Hmm.
somewhat. But it wasn't until it it, it wasn't until Curry joined the team, Monte Ellis's last year, where things started to turn around.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you got a favorite wrestler growing up? Did you ever watch wrestling as a kid?
As a kid, growing up, I'm talking about professional wrestling. I enjoyed watching. His name was Rufus R. Jones,
Okay.
and he came in the ring. His big gimmick was he had this black glove, and he would do these battles with guys like Blackjack Mulligan, and he'd be like, "All right, Blackjack, I got the special glove," and somehow he would put this glove on, and then these powers were admit, and he would be able to win the match, and I was just fascinated by that
Yeah.
as a little kid. Um, I will say that my favorite wrestler to date, and I'm talking about Greco-Roman wrestling, is a story of a guy by the name of Shane Griffith. In 2021, he was wrestling for Stanford.
Mhm.
Wrestling was on the cut list because Stanford they were going to drop all these programs. But Stanford continued on. He qualified for the NCAA tournament, and he didn't even have Stanford around his chest because they really didn't have much of an affiliation. So here's a guy who had this black singlet, wrestling at 165 pounds. They were in St. Louis, and he wins the NCAA championship. I expect a movie to be coming out maybe on Netflix
Yeah.
on the story of what happened. But he caught lightning in a bottle. So Shane Griffith, that's the guy for me. Now professionally, it's got to be Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan was the first professional wrestler that I ever interviewed. I was in Baltimore, Maryland, and the WWF came to town, and they were offering Hulk Hogan. So I came down to the arena, and he was so tall. He was 6'7", almost 6'8",
Wow.
and I'm 5 foot nothing. And so I'm standing in a chair while I interview him, and
Like the stool, right? You
it
have?
was just it was just fascinating.
It's like that stool you have?
No, no, I didn't have a stool
No.
then. I'm in Baltimore. I didn't have a stool. I had to use an actual chair, a fold out chair.
Wow.
So anyway, I joke with him about that when I run into him now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hulk Hogan, yeah, he was the guy. He was the it man.
Wow. Good story. What advice would you give yourself at 12 years old?
You're 12 years old. You're a kid. You should be enjoying life. You shouldn't be having to, worry about grown up stuff.
Hmm.
So go outside and play. Use your imagination. Play by the rules and be on time. I'm real stickler for trying to be on time because when you're late, you're just pretty much saying that your time is better than everybody else's.
Yeah.
And that's not true, and it's certainly not fair, and it's disingenuous.
Hmm.
So I tell my 12-year-old self, yeah, be on time, play by the rules, and just enjoy life being a kid.
All right, good thoughts. You're a homeowner for quite a while now. What do you love about the city you live in? We talked about Marin earlier, but what do you love about Marin?
Well, I live in this tiny town called Mill Valley. Mill Valley kind of resembles a New England type town, full of mom and pop
Hmm.
shops. It has some charm. We're at the base of Mount Tamalpais. Um, it's uh, it's a town where you can be who you are, really without being judged. At least that's how it was when we first moved there. My wife grew up here. The school systems are strong, so there's no automatic need to go to a private school, not if you're living here.
Hmm.
There's 5 elementary schools. They feed into one middle school, which feeds into one of 2 high schools, and that's Tamalpais High School and Redwood High School, which is where Pete Carroll went, by the way.
Okay.
And it's just good, slow living. I mean, the Golden Gate Bridge is what 2 miles away from here, so you can just jump on and go, and it's just uh, I love it here. I mean, and all you have to do is spend a weekend here in Mill Valley, and you will get it. So I mean, it's like I mean, you grew up in P Town,
Yeah.
how special P Town
Yeah.
is, especially downtown, kind of the old. It's a similar feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Good schools, everything like that. Yeah, it's good. If you weren't at your current job, what would you be doing instead?
Probably some sort of sales of some
Yeah.
point. Something where I'm out there, kind of, pushing a product. I'm not one of those. I'm not very good at being in a cubicle,
Hmm.
yet just looking at a clock, waiting for 5 o'clock before I get off
Yeah.
work. Um, so I like to be out doing something. I think in my post television career, I wouldn't mind doing this.
Yeah.
Have a little podcast
Yeah.
where I just kind of get on. In fact, I have an idea for a show to do,
Nice.
but something where I'm out and about. I mean, for as much of a homebody as I am,
Yeah.
I do like to get out and engage people.
That's good. You got a favorite video game or board game growing up that you played?
I'm old school. I'm going to go with
Yeah.
Monopoly. It's a game of chance. It teaches you about life. It teaches you about making money and spending money and holding on to money. It's a life's
Yeah.
lessons kind of game. I've never really been a video game guy. I mean that I got 3 sons all in their 20s.
Hmm.
They're caught up in it. I mean I think it just takes it takes a certain gene that I don't have
Yeah.
to have the aptitude to play video games all day.
Gotcha. You got a drink of choice? What are you drinking when you pull up to the bar?
I like I like a nice red. I like a nice cab
Okay. Wine guy.
at maybe at the end of the
Yeah.
night. When I because I work late, so I come home about 12:15 in the morning, something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody's asleep. Um, so there's something about kind of kicking back with a nice little glass of a cab and just kind of
Hmm.
kind of relax. Although I will tell you this, when I go on a road trip, last day of the trip at the airport bar, usually by the gate, you find me nursing maybe a 2 3 fingers of Woodford Reserve rocks, low ball glass, just kind of sipping it as I reflect on the trip
Yeah.
and kind of kiss it goodbye. That's usually the only time I have a drink like that.
Okay. You want to share us a guilty pleasure?
Binge watcher
Yeah.
of TV.
Okay.
I mean, I'm binge watching something, whether it's 1923, which is the prequel to Yellowstone, or whatever. I my other passion besides sports is cooking,
Mm.
and so I'm always in the kitchen cooking up something, and I'll have something on keeping me company. I mean, so it could be a show like that. It could be Full Swing, the Netflix show
Hmm.
on golf. It could be Court of Gold, which is the Netflix show on Team USA and their drive for the gold in Paris for the Olympics. So it could anything like that. But I am a binge watcher. Uh, just guilty as charged.
Gotcha.
It's my escape.
You got a favorite emoji?
Smile,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Smile.
Okay.
I mean, you put a smile on a text or something like that. Hey, it makes you feel good. It's how I generally am as a personality. Hey, nothing wrong with a smile.
All right. Um, Nominate someone you want to see on the show. That could be a good guest for me to reach out to and get them on here. I know Stanley nominated you a while ago, but who would be a good one to be on here, you think?
I'm going to nominate the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to nominate Steve Kerr,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why. Um, Smart guy.
Yeah.
He's a basketball savant.
Yeah.
He's been there, done that. He's very worldly.
Yeah.
His father was an ambassador
Hmm.
to, I believe, Beirut. Sadly, he was assassinated. Um, but he's very outspoken on gun violence.
Yeah.
He's he's a man of great knowledge, of great wisdom, and I think however you could get him on the show, I would highly recommend it. I would start by contacting the Warriors and emailing a guy by the name of Raymond Ritter, who is the senior director, vice president of communications for the team.
Okay. Thanks. I'll do that. I'll reach out to them and see if we can get them on here. You'd be a good guest to have. Good audience. Be good. Um, how do we follow you and find you?
Great, he'd be great.
Yeah. How do we follow you and find you on social media? I know you have a golf tournament coming up too. But how do we, find you out there?
You can find me on Twitter. Those that are even doing Twitter
Or
anymore,
X, right?
at Vern KPIX.
Hmm.
You can find me on the gram
Hmm.
at Vern Glenn, and you can find me on Facebook,
Okay.
Vern Glenn
All
there.
right.
So those are three places, social media wise, you can find me. I do have a golf tournament. Thanks for letting me plug it.
Yeah.
It is the second Vern Glenn Invitational.
Hmm.
You can hit that by pulling up vernglenninvitational.net. We're having it here in Marin County at Marin Country Club in Novato. We're going to support three Marin-based foundations, basically for kids and families.
Hmm.
It's just kind of the philanthropy, that bug that kind of bit me from being involved with so many other tournaments of that nature. So this is the second year of it. If I had a grand plan of this, I'd like to do it for 10
Hmm.
years, and I'd like each year for it to be in a different county.
Okay.
There are 9 counties that make up the Bay Area. So if I could have one in each of the 9 counties, that would be great. And then that 10th and final year, have it in the original county where it started, and that would be it'd be Oakland
Hmm.
at Sequoia Country Club.
Okay. Uh,
That's my plan.
nice. Nice goals. Have any questions, about the market real estate fair? Reach out to me. Always here to help. Thanks for being on the show, Vern. Any final words?
Yeah, if you guys would like to take me, I on my bucket list, I'd like to attend any Michigan or Notre Dame home football game.
Okay.
I've never done it.
Yeah.
Never been to Ann Arbor. Never been to Notre Dame Stadium. Would love to go. I don't care if they're playing the Akron Zips.
Yeah.
I just want to go for the experience of being in a in those two really cool venues to watch a game with so much history.
Okay. So it's on the bucket list then.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. From on the spot, we're out of here.